Wake up, lazy students! Today's video is the first in a 3-part Halloween series on my channel coming to you this October. So in this first video I'm recommending 10 of my top Halloween favourite films. So I've split the films that I'm recommending into 2 different categories. So firstly we've got the not very scary at all, family friendly, fun Halloween films, and in the other category we've got the real horror, terrifying Halloween films. So it's totally up to you, your preference as to which films that you would like to hear about. I'm going to be using a rating system of spooky spiders. Now if the film's only got 1 spooky spider, that means that I don't think it's very scary at all, totally family friendly and really just an enjoyable film to watch. If it's got 5 spooky spiders, that is the scariest, most horror-filled, terrifying film. So it's totally up to you which ones you decide to watch, but I've tried to give it a rating so that you know personally for your preferences what you would prefer. So now that I've explained the rating system of spooky spiders, let's get into the recommendations. So I'm starting this list with the family-friendly, fun, not-so-scary Halloween films. So the first film in this category is the ScoobyDoo 2002 film. Starting off with an oldie but a goodie. I'm sure a lot of you probably watched ScoobyDoo when you were younger, whether it was the cartoon animations or played the games. The casting on this film is fantastic and Matthew Lillard is such a standout actor in his role as Shaggy. This film is packed with some great humour, some adult jokes, and just all round is such a good time. If you're looking for a light-hearted, fun adventure, grab the gang, grab some Scooby snacks and sit down to this film. Here's a fun fact for you, Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. are actually married in real life, so the people that play Daphne and Fred. I thought that was really cute. The rating for this film is 1 spooky spider. You're definitely not going to get huge scares from this. It is just a comedy made for kids, so it is a super fun film and I definitely recommend that you check it out. So the second film recommendation I have is Addams Family Values. Now this is actually the second film in the Addams Family franchise, but in my opinion it's by far the best. You won't find any terrifying spooky moments in this franchise, but the films are definitely worth a watch. If nothing else, this film is totally worth watching just for the love share between Morticia and Gomez Addams, who are absolute couple and relationship goals. Now here's a fun fact, if you pay close attention you'll probably see the bright white light over Angelica Houston or Morticia Addams' eyes. Now this was a technique used in old horror films to accentuate the villain's eyes, so I thought that was super interesting and it really adds so much dimension and character to the film. So I gave this film 1 spooky spider again. It's not a horror film, it's not scary by any means, but it's still packed with loads of Halloween fun. This next film is genuinely one of my favourite films ever, and that's The Nightmare Before Christmas. This film follows Jack Skellington, the main character, from Halloween Town all the way to Christmas Town in a fun and whimsical adventure. Now this film isn't scary or a horror by any sense of the word, but there definitely was, when I was younger, some moments at Halloween Town at the start of the film where I thought some of the characters looked slightly scary. So that definitely counts, right? So this film has that creepy kind of trademark Tim Burton-esque feel to it, but it is just so fun and such a worthwhile film to watch. Who doesn't love a mix between spooky time and Christmas time all wrapped up in one film? Now I've given this film 1 spooky spider. I really don't think it's scary at all. Like I said when I was younger, I did think 1 or 2 of the Halloween Town characters were slightly spooky, but honestly it is just such a crowd pleaser, such a good film to watch, and I dare you not to enjoy it. Now I couldn't have done this list without including at least 1 musical, and I was totally fighting myself over whether to put the Rocky Horror Picture Show or Little Shop of Horrors. But in the end I decided the absolute cult classic, the Rocky Horror Picture Show, had to get the mention here. Now this film is a cult classic for a reason. I am still in absolute awe of Tim Curry's performance in this amazing masterpiece of a film. Now in my opinion this is one of the best films ever made. Ever. So not just for Halloween, but make sure you set time aside to watch this because you will not regret it. Now fun fact, the guy who played Riff Raff in the Rocky Horror Picture Show actually wrote and produced the screenplay for the film. Some of you might also recognise him as the man who presented the Crystal Maze, which I thought was a really fun and cool fact. Now I'm going to give the Rocky Horror Picture Show 1 spooky spider out of 5. It's not a scary film, it's purely just an enjoyable adventure. It's nothing like you've ever seen before, so I definitely recommend giving it a watch. So the next film on the list is called Shaun of the Dead. Now this is a screenplay by Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright. Now this film sort of sets out to be a spoof of the zombie horror tropes in films, but ironically I actually think it turns out to be one of the best zombie films ever made. Now I don't want to give away too much of this film, but let's just say the directing choices of this slow kind of zombie outbreak happening has such a great payoff in the end, and it is definitely worth the watch. I've given this film 2.5 spooky spiders out of 5. Now the reason is, although this is a comedy, there is still some blood and gore, and again, not spoiling anything, but there is one scene in particular that is... it's a lot. There's quite a bit of blood, there's quite a bit of gore, and they definitely don't shy away from showing you what a real zombie apocalypse outbreak might look like. Fun fact, this film's actually part of the 3-flavour Cornetto trilogy, which has Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz and The World's End. Now personally, I think the first 2 films are absolutely fantastic. The first one's more Halloween-y, zombie, the second one's more of just a comedy, but the third film, The World's End, honestly I'd give a miss. I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion, I just didn't really enjoy it. I didn't feel like there was that spark and those really fun elements in the third film, but again, that is part of that trilogy, so definitely check it out if you've got a spare afternoon. So now we're moving on to the spooky, scary horror category, which is fun. This isn't personally my absolute favourite category because I get so scared so easily, honestly, but these are some really good recommendations. I hope that if you are into this very scary type of film, you will hopefully enjoy these. So the first film I'm starting with is called The Thing. Now right off the bat, this is a pretty terrifying film to start with. If you want to get to sleep tonight, you might not want to watch this one, just saying. Now to me, this film is one of those can't look but also can't look away horror thriller type of films. Now if you're not convinced as to how scary this film is, the actual trailer's tagline is "Man is the warmest place to hide." It's horrible. So I have given this 4.5 spooky spiders out of 5, and here's why. This film is actually quite terrifying, so be warned. If you're into that thing, great, but if you're not and you end up watching it, just know that you might be having to sleep with the lights on for at least a couple of days. This next film is called Misery. It's a Stephen King book to film adaptation starring Kathy Bates in one of her best performances ever. Now I really don't want to spoil any of this film at all, but I'll let you know that Kathy Bates plays a really creepy, weird, obsessive fan of someone's. So this is some of Stephen King's best psychological thriller work, so expect this story to be pretty messed up. So I've given this film 4 out of 5 spooky spiders. This film is really scary. It's Stephen King. You are to expect that when you watch one of his book to film adaptations. It's pretty terrifying. It's a psychological thriller. Kathy Bates plays her character so well, so you know you're going to believe every single word she's saying and everything she's doing. There is one scene in particular, I can't even watch it. It's a lot. Like it's a lot. There's some blood, some gore, that kind of thing. So just keep that in mind if you are going to watch this. It does it fantastically. It is such a good film, but you're definitely not missing any kind of horror elements in this film. So this next film came out in 2017 and it's called Get Out. I don't really know how to put this without spoiling it, but this film is messed up. Like it's messed up. This film has just the right amount of perfectly timed jump scares, but as well as that, it will leave you on the edge of your seat waiting for the next messed up thing to happen. So I've given this film 3.5 spooky spiders out of 5. There are some jump scares, like I said. There are moments where it is just genuine horror terrifying, but this is one of those slow burn, waiting for stuff to happen. It's just off and terrifying and messed up, and it's such a good film, but you're just sitting there thinking, oh my goodness, what's going to happen? I hate this. Which again is the point of a horror film. It does it really, really well. This film plays with a lot of camera angles. It's directed really well. The cast is fantastic. There are some real standout actors. So I've given this film 3.5 spooky spiders out of 5. Now there are some unexpected jump scares that I don't want to spoil for you, but other than that, this is just one of those films you're watching watching, looking around thinking, this is so messed up. It is really psychological, it is a proper horror. Some of the things that happen are really horrific. So if you're interested in that, definitely give this one a watch. It's a lot, it's messed up. So the next film on the list is called Hostel, which is written and directed by Eli Roth. Now, Hostel is about a mysterious organisation that kidnaps and kills tourists. This is one of these films that if you just want sick and twisted blood and gore and yucky things, you will probably love this film. Now, I've given this film 4.5 stars, again, just because of the blood, the gore, the awful torture, the things going on. It's just disgusting. It is blood and gore for the sake of blood and gore, but again, if you're interested in that, they do it really well, I think. So by all means, watch it. So last but not least, there is a terrifying film that had to be the top of this list, the worst, the scariest film ever. And it's called Coraline. Okay, so I know what you might be thinking. Isn't Coraline a kid's film? It is, but I don't know why. This film is genuinely the stuff of nightmares. Everything from the premise of the film to the creepy button eyes, everything is just, I hate it. It's such a good film, but it is so creepy. I actually can't believe they let kids watch this. Coraline is such a well done, creepy film. And fun fact, it's not even directed by Tim Burton. You'd think, but it's not. It definitely has that creepy Tim Burton vibe all the way through. It is just so unsettling, even in the good parts of the film, and I won't spoil it, but even in the good parts, it's just terrifying. It's so creepy. Oh. Now, I have given this film 5 spooky spiders because it is really creepy and weird, and no one can tell me otherwise. From the creepy characters to the creepy set design and the animation to just the weird music and the weird feel, like it is super, super scary and creepy and a total psychological scary thing, especially for kids, I think, to watch. So definitely give this film a watch, but don't expect some nice happy animation or, oh, it can't be that bad, it's just the Nightmare Before Christmas vibe. It's not. It's terrifying. Well, there you have it. That was all of my Halloween film recommendations and the first video in my new 3-part Halloween series coming to my channel this October. Make sure that you join me next week in part 2, where I'll be talking about spooky decorations that you can DIY. So if you don't want to miss that or any of my future videos, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and also ring the notification bell so that you're notified every single time that I upload a new video. Thank you as always for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye!